the laws of Dina de Malchusa. Let me touch a little on the hashkafa of Dina de Malchusa, the concept of Dina de Malchusa, and something which I think is an important concept. We find, and we're going to learn this later in Navi, in Perek Chaf Beis, I believe, here in Malachim, that there's a concept of Meira Malchus, or of Kavod Malchus. That there's such a concept, you know it from Chumash. It says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent Moshe Rabbeinu to Para, he says, "V'nitzafta sham," you should stand. So the Gemara says in Zvachim Daf Kuf Beis that nitzafta, you have to stand there to show Meira Malchus, even to Parai. To Parai, you have to show Meira Malchus, you have to show Kavod. Later on, Moshe Rabbeinu said, "V'yardu avadecha ela elai." He said, "You'll see your slaves are going to come running to me." The Gemara says that really Parai came running. But as a sign of Kavod Malchus, he said, your workers, your slaves, your servants will come running. So the Gemara says that there's such a concept. We'll have it later in Malachim. It says that Eliyahu Hanavi ran in front of the chariot of Achav to show Kavod for Achav. Achav was a Melech Rasha. And yet Eliyahu showed Kavod, showed respect for Achav. So from here we see that there's such a concept of respect for the Malchus. The Gemara says, in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Shar HaMizrach, in one of the gates, the Gemara says there was a painting of Shushan Habira. Why? It was there, the Gemara says in the Bayesheni, to show Kavod Malchus. The people should have Meira Malchus. It wasn't just a payoff to the king, but a reminder that there's such a concept of Meira Malchus, of respect for authority, the authority of the Malchus. This is something which in 20th century America is totally missing. It's certainly missing that the concept of respect, even for the president. Who has respect for the president today? You could say it's the president's fault, but it's already been that way for a number of presidents. The Kavod of the president, I remember once reading that when President Bush was the president, he let people walk through the personal quarters of the White House. So what was the chiddush? That even the president leaves his socks on the carpet, leaves his socks laying around. So the chiddush was that he's a nobody, he's like everybody else, he leaves his socks laying around. The kavod of the Malchus, it's missing. There's no respect, there's a lack of authority, there's no pedestal that the president is put on. I remember when Ford came once to 13th Avenue, it must have been election time. So we asked the Shaila, you make a bracha, you see a melech, you make a bracha. So we asked the Shaila, if you make the bracha on a melech, when you see the president. So Rav Moshe Bick said that until Nixon came along, you made a bracha on Kavod HaMalchus. The king was on a pedestal, the president was on the pedestal like a melech. There was a certain respect for the authority of the king. But after Watergate, and after what happened, and it could be after the entire, whatever transpired during his presidency, not only Watergate, but the protests, the Vietnam protests, and the whole concept of Meira Malchus was thrown down. So after that, he said that it's no longer, the president no longer has the din of a melech. So why is it that Chazal saw fit that there should be kavod for the melech? So there's a big yisroel that says some sefer. Some sefer says there's a mitzvah d'oraisa